All right, we got some news items here today. GM meetings. It was the first full day of the GM meetings yesterday. Preller and the Padres, after the Stammen press conference, they flew to Vegas for those GM meetings. And this is the week where these discussions start to be had between teams. What do teams need? What maybe will the framework have to be for possible deals? The interest in players probably starts a little bit here. Like, for example, I think the Juan Soto discussions, that Yankees trade, started during or around the GM meetings time between the Padres and Yankees. Then the winter meetings come, and going into that week, there was a better idea of what would need to happen, and so that's how that progressed, right? So I don't know if moves will be made right now, but the start of these discussions will be happening. And Robert Murray of FanSided, here, let me remove this for a sec so you can see the entire graphic. Robert Murray of FanSided, he spoke to AJ Preller today, I guess, and he said that Preller said the Padres have interest in retaining free agent infielder Luis Arraez, which I post that on social media, and I know that there's going to be a ton of Padres fans that are not going to like that. And that's exactly what it was. If you're a fan of another team, or maybe even if you're a Padres fan, you may enjoy going to that tweet and looking at the replies, because some Padres fans did not like at all seeing that that AJ Preller had interest in bringing back Luis Arraez. Now, Robert Murray in this article he says Arraez, 28, is known for his bat and is coming off a season in which he hit 292, 327, 392. That was his slash line. A 719 OPS, 8 home runs, 61 ribbies. In his 7-year career, he's hitting 317, 363, 413. That's that slash line for his career, with a 777 OPS, 36 home runs, 308 RBIs. ESPN projected Arraez to sign a 2-year, $17 million contract this offseason. I didn't see that, but let's just say that's accurate. So that would be $8.5 million per year for Luis Arraez. Would you do that if you're a Padres fan? Let me know. For that number, I think it could be better spent elsewhere. I'm not surprised that AJ Preller says the Padres have interest in retaining Luis Arraez. If he's asked that question, what is he going to say? No, we don't want him. Because, like, what if something happens in the offseason and you've got your plan A, plan B, plan C doesn't work out, and then Luis Arraez was your plan D, but then you already said you don't want him back. He's going to want to come back to you. So you're just not going to say, you're not going to, and I don't think you're even allowed to say that we're not interested in this player. You can say that you're going to be interested because that's like a positive for the player, but I don't think you're allowed to say, no, we hate that guy. No, we're not. We definitely don't want that guy back. No, that guy sucks. No, Preller's not going to say that anyway. I know that's an extreme, but I don't think you're allowed to be like, no, we're not going to go after that guy. You could just say, I'm not going to comment, but I don't think you can be negative towards a player on the market publicly. At least from what I remember, GMs don't normally do that. So maybe, yeah, don't be surprised by Preller being interested. At worst, he's being nice, and probably because he needs to. But the Padres definitely could be interested in bringing back Luis Arraez. Like, if you want to think about it, he didn't say they're interested in bringing back Luis Arraez at $14 million a year or at a certain number per year. What if they want to bring him back $5 million a year? Is Arraez going to want that? No, he's going to want more, obviously. But there's still an interest level if the Padres want to bring him back at that number, let's say. And that's a random number. I totally just threw that out there. But just saying. So they could just have a small interest, but still interest. Because like Luis Arraez, can he help the Padres? He can. But do I want him hitting in the 2 spot? If he's going to do what he did this past season. Do I want him hitting in the 2 spot? He got, I think, 2 hits, 2 for 11, I want to say, in the wild card series. Like, just not as impactful as we wanted him to be in the 2025 season, period. And I know Mike Schilt was very stubborn with having Luis Arraez be in that 2 hole. And I understand it if you're going to look at his career. A 7-year career, again, even with the year last year of hitting 292 with a 719 OPS. By the way, his OPS plus is below league average, I believe, this past year. So even with that, he's still an above average hitter And like hitters in baseball don't hit over 300 for their career in a 7-year span. That just doesn't happen very much. So in that aspect, like he's still a special talent, right? The contact, the not striking out, even though if I remember correctly, we did see that more as the end of the year happened, which was disappointing to see. It was still shocking to me whenever Luis Arraez struck out, and then he strikes out back-to-back at bats. I want to say, I'm like, whoa, what the heck is happening here? But that's what was happening. So for someone that, yes, 28 years, like in his prime, he just didn't have the year that we wanted him to, and so that was disappointing. And so for the number, like the Padres, if they're going to be limited in the amount of money that they can spend, which I assume that they would be, it's clear they need more power in this lineup. But I don't think that you should just shut out them bringing back Luis Arraez. Like I don't think he was terrible defensively, and to have a contact hitter in the lineup, I assume he will be better next year than how he produced this year. He did go through injuries. I think we got to say that, right? I think one of them was a thumb injury. Like that's not easy to deal with. Um, Sidebar: I saw Merrill and Skeens, like a discussion there today. Let's not forget the injuries that Merrill went through as well during his down year. Concussion was included. But anyway, back to Arraez. I think he'll be better next year, but will he be better for 4 years? Like how long does he want for a contract? Is this a 2-year thing? Is this a 5-year thing? Right? Padres, maybe they do it more short term, but then you're probably going to have to increase that AAV. But they do need more power. You could bring back Ryan O'Hearn, and you'd get more power there. Something though, if you want to go on the let's keep Luis Arraez on that side of things, you have the contact there. Padres fans obviously clamoring for more power. All right, let's have Manny be healthy. Let's have Merrill have a comeback season, right? Not in the sophomore slump season. Let's not him have a concussion and get more power that way. And usually as players get older, they grow into their bodies and there's more power there. So hoping with that. Xander, we'll see. But really for me, it's Merrill and Tatis. Like get more power from them. And a big one is left field. If you remember, who was in left field at the beginning of the season? Jason Hayward. What did he do? He had a 37 OPS plus. He hit 176. He had a negative .6 baseball reference WAR. He hit 2 home runs, 15 hits, and 85 at-bats. No stolen bases. Like, that's who is one of the guys in left field for the Padres. Who's going to be in left field for the Padres next season? Ramon Laureano, who had an OPS plus 36% above league average, hit 24 bombs, hit 281, had a 3.8 baseball reference WAR, 855 OPS. I know that the majority of the year is with the Orioles, not the Padres, but there's definitely more power coming from the left field position next year. There's probably going to be more power coming from whoever's going to be at first base, assuming it's not Luis Arraez, and let's say Crony's at second. Or if they put Crony at first, then maybe they bring, I don't even know who the power second base bat would be, but I'm just hoping that, yes, there will be more power from other positions because this team is going to be in a better spot going into next season than they were at the beginning of this past season. Right? So I think it's important to point that out. But bringing back Luis Arraez at, what did he make? Like 14 mil a year this past year? That's a no. Heck no. Sorry, Luis. No. I value what he brings to this team, but I'm not going to sit here and pay him more than 10 mil a year. I don't even know if I want to pay him 8.5 mil a year. I feel like it's like, yeah, we value you. Like 5 million a year is still a lot of money for a human being. But I know it's baseball, and he's going to want more. And all it takes is the Rockies or another team to give him more than that, right? And again, 5 mil is just a number I threw out there. That's probably not going to get it done, but I don't want to pay a lot of money for Luis Arraez. I just don't. So there's that. Not surprised the Padres are interested in retaining Luis Arraez. Probably at the right price is them being interested in retaining him. Some fans may take this report, the Padres being interested, as like they really want him back. I don't know if that's the case. And again, Preller's not going to sit there and be like, no, we don't want Luis Arraez back. I blocked his agent's number. Like, of course, he's not going to say that. So that's the first piece. Then the second one was Kevin Acee in the San Diego Union Tribune. He put out his notes piece from the GM meetings earlier today. And there were some nuggets, I think, about payroll and stuff like that. But the thing that stood out to me was him saying, and I'm not surprised by this, if you listen to some of the comments yesterday from, I think, Preller in like the side sessions, the scrums after the press conference about Ruben Niebla, from that, I was like, okay, a title change is probably coming for Ruben. Like, they're not going to hire Stammen with Niebla as a finalist, and then Niebla stays on without getting a pay raise or getting a title change, like without getting the respect, right? So the Padres, they are expected to give Ruben Niebla the additional title of associate manager, according to Kevin's sources. Love that, number one. Ruben, more broader responsibilities. So then that means that Ben Fritz, bullpen coach, he will probably get more responsibilities with the pitching staff, which I haven't heard a negative thing about Ben Fritz, haven't heard a negative thing about Ruben. So that duo there, great. Bring Craig Stammen in with what he knows and his career and all that, great. The offense part, that's still a question. Still need a third base coach, still need a hitting coach. But Ruben getting associate manager, that's what Skip Schumacher got. They invented that title for Skip Schumacher when he was with the Padres. Love that because Ruben deserves it. He deserves that respect. I'm glad that the Padres are doing that. And this will probably come with a pay raise for him, I assume. Maybe it's a different contract, a contract extension. So that would be awesome. Don't know that it's a contract extension, but a title of associate manager, I assume that would come with some sort of pay raise as well, not just a title change. So good for Ruben, deserves it. And he's not just a pitching, like he hasn't just been a pitching coach. Under Mike Schilt, I doubt he was just a pitching coach. That was his title. But the meetings that you're in, if you're Ruben Niebla with Mike Schilt, and Mike Schilt is standing next to Ruben the entire game. Brian Esposito's there too. We'll see about his future. Like, he's learning what it entails being a manager under Mike Schilt there. So, and Bob Melvin too, when Bomel was here. So, like, he has that experience. And I think from that, he can be an even better associate manager because that's pretty much it sure seems like that's what he was last year as well. Like, there's a lot of trust with Ruben there. So this was going to come if Ruben was going to stay in the organization and not be hired as the manager, then he must have been promised, like, regardless of what happens here, Ruben, with this manager, we want you here. If you're not the manager, we're going to give you a title change and give you that respect because we do love you here. We just want the best coaching staff in total, in totality. So good for Ruben. So right now, the coaching staff, as it stands, you've got Stammen as the manager. You've got Ruben as associate manager coming soon. You've got Brian Esposito as the bench coach as of now, but who knows? No hitting coach, no third base coach. David Macias, to my knowledge, is on the staff still. First base coach, outfield coordinator, or outfield coach, whatever you want to say. Ben Fritz in the bullpen. We'll see if they change that title. Ruben, I don't know if it's associate manager and pitching coach or just associate manager. Would they put Ben Fritz in the dugout and then have a bullpen coach come in? I don't know. They probably do want him still in the bullpen because of the communication that goes on there. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's some of the coaching staff as of now. Let me see the other coaches just to re-jog my memory here that I'm not thinking of. Mike McCoy is listed as assistant hitting coach. He's still here. Pat O'Sullivan, assistant hitting coach. I don't know about these guys' contracts, but this is on the Padres website that they're still here. I did talk about David Macias already, first base coach, outfield and base running instructor is the title there. Ben Fritz, bullpen coach. Nick Punto, major league coach. He did interview, I think, for the Twins job. Was granted permission there, but did not get that. Obviously, Derek Shelton got that. Peter Somerville, game planning and coaching assistant. Alberto Andrade, bullpen catcher and coaching assistant. He's been here for a while. Morgan Burkhart, major league coaching assistant. Chris, totally going to botch this name, Chris Pekachia, coaching assistant, pitching, and then Scott Stroud, coaching assistant. So if there's someone that, let's say Ben Fritz goes to the dugout, but like it's not like Ruben's leaving the dugout. He's still there. And you'd think that they'd fill the bench coach role still and have Espo there or bring someone else in. Maybe it's Don Mattingly. I did see Don Mattingly connected to the Phillies today. We'll see what happens with his situation. But if they brought Ben Fritz to the dugout, then who would go to the bullpen? Would they bring someone else in? I don't know. Would it be an internal hire? Would they bring in someone from the minor leagues? I have no idea. One of Craig's connections? We'll see. Other note, Austin Nola today, I saw that the Braves let him go because he has been hired as the Mariners' new bullpen coach. Remember, Stephen Vogt, I believe, started in that role before he ended up being the manager of the Guardians. So Austin Nola, does he want to be a future manager? I joked that's going to be Preller's manager in 2028 because he keeps getting manager hires every couple years. They move on, whether it's they hate each other or performance or the manager doesn't want to be there anymore and he's just done. If he gets, I don't know if he'll get another hire, but he's going to get an extension, I would think, line it up with Stammen. So through the 2028 season, and I joked, AJ's manager hire in 2028, Austin Nola, come on down. No, but hopefully not. Hopefully Stammen's here for a decade because that's what Preller says for every manager that he hires, that he wants this manager to be here for a decade. So hopefully that's the case because that means that things are working out pretty well. Because while these manager searches are entertaining, at least for myself, I'd rather have someone here for a decade because that means that there's winning happening and there's sustainability. There's that common connection with the players and the coaching staff. They don't have to worry about having a new coaching staff going into spring training and stuff like that. I know it's Craig Stammen, so there's going to be familiarity there, but you get the point. Because like Musgrove's even talked about it. I think he talked about it with Marty Caswell when Stammen was hired. Like I'm not quoting him, but like they're kind of tired of having to go through new managers and have to learn these guys and coaching staffs and all that during spring training. They can just get off and go. Especially in a WBC year, he was talking about this, the familiarity with Stammen. You can just get off and go. You know each other. Let's go. Let's get this process going. So when players do leave for the WBC, it's not as bad as if there was someone that they didn't really know coming in, right? So yeah, those are the couple tidbits from earlier today that I wanted to hit on. Padres interested in retaining Arraez. Again, that's not specific. That's not like, oh, they want him for 5 years. They want him at $20 million a year, $10 million a year. There's no specifics. But I'm not surprised the Padres would be interested in bringing him back at some level. We don't know what the level is. Is it strong interest? Is it just interest at their price point and that's it? Is it interest if Luis Arraez doesn't get the interest that he wants and so he has to come crawling back to the Padres? We'll see. Niebla, associate manager, coming soon, according to Kevin Acee. So that's great news. I'm happy that he's getting that respect that he deserves. All right, shout out to the great partners of this show before ending this. Gaglione Bros, famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries. Their main location is on Friars Road. Check them out. Link in the description. Their menu, their address, phone number, all that good stuff. Great cheesesteak fries, garlic fries, cheesesteaks. Sounds pretty good right now. They're inside Snapdragon Stadium, which SDFC will be back at on Monday, not this coming Monday, but I think the next Monday, the 24th, to host Minnesota in the semifinals after winning their series against Portland. 4-0 in that game 3. Anders and Pellegrino scoring a couple goals. So that was fun to watch. Unfortunately, San Diego Wave season has come to an end, a loss at Portland. But SDFC still in action. San Diego State football, obviously, in action at Snapdragon. So you can go get your Gaglione Bros there on the east side of the stadium. Main location again on Friars Road. Breaking Tea, they've got Padres and Aztecs shirts and sweatshirts. Click the link in the description for them. And SeatGeek code Talking Friars, $20 off your first order when you sign up with your email address. Trying to help you out there. It's not just Padres games, other San Diego sports events, concerts, some good stuff there on SeatGeek. So again, use that to your advantage, helping you out there. And also code Talking Friars for 10% off on freestylecutandstitch.com. That code still does work. I checked that this morning. Really cool basketball jerseys. San Diegan that started that brand. I was talking with him earlier today. Sean, great dude. So if you want to support him, he's got a lot of great San Diego basketball jerseys there. So I definitely recommend you check him out there. All right. Have a great night, everybody, and talk to you soon.